Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden will no longer be traveling to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to accept the nomination, citing concerns about COVID-19. The Democratic National Committee says no speakers will travel to the 2020 convention. Instead, the committee telling CNN Biden will accept the nomination in his home state of Delaware, with his acceptance speech given later. Let's go to Andrew Smith on this, political science professor at the University of New Hampshire. Andrew, so many changes catching up to the political system here with COVID-19 in play. So Biden's not going to the convention. Nobody's going to the convention. Does that mean there even is a convention?
Well, I think that's probably a good question that we could have asked over the last several cycles. The conventions really have become more infomercials than anything. There will be a convention on the Democratic side. Apparently, it's going to be so stripped down, and it's not going to have any of the hoopla that there normally is. And as you just said, that the speakers aren't going to be there either. And the thing about conventions is almost all of the work has been done long before the convention actually takes place. So these are more opportunities to show off the candidate, and they can do that just as easily now as we're used to COVID restrictions. They can do it from home, or like Joe Biden has done it from his basement even for quite some time.
Okay, do you think that will affect the electorate, meaning voters are not going to be that enthusiastic, that involved, that tuned in to the election run-up because of the way it's going to be carried out?
I don't think so. The conventions happen in the summer for good reason, because very few of the actual voters are paying attention to politics at that time, and they really don't pay that much attention to the conventions. The network television have not been covering the conventions very much, and there really hasn't been a consequential election going back really decades, if not 100 years. So I think that the public is not going to miss the convention. If there's anything that they'll miss, it'll be sports, but they're not going to miss the convention.
Okay, let's talk for a moment about a running mate for Joe Biden, because he hasn't announced yet. Who do you see taking that spot? Who are the final contenders?
It's going to be it's tough to say, because we've got several people that have been run up the flagpole, so to speak. But you got to remember, when this happens, a lot of the names that you're hearing are put out there because they're trying to assuage different groups of people within the party. To let them know that they're being paid attention to. My sense is that he will, first off, have a woman. He's already committed to having a woman, and there's also great pressure for him to have a minority woman. But the thing that he has to worry about is that he makes a choice that isn't like a Dan Quayle or a Sarah Palin, somebody who could be characterized as not ready to go as president. Especially with Joe Biden being as old as he is, he really needs to have somebody as his vice president who could be seen as very credibly stepping in as president right away.
Also, we just found out that Facebook has removed a post that had Donald Trump talking about young people being almost immune to COVID-19. I think it's the first time they've removed something from the president. I'm sure he won't like it. What's your take?
Well, after seeing a lot of the posts that are on Facebook, this is pretty mild or tame. Yes, it's a little hyperbolic to saying that kids are immune or almost immune. But if you look at the numbers, the numbers of children who have died from COVID in the United States that are, say, under the age of 15 is really far less than the number of children that age that die of the flu every year. So the children are not immune to it, but when they get it, they seem to get it at a much, much, much more mild case than do older people.
So overreaction, do you think, by Facebook?
I think so. I think there's a lot of politics here. There's been a lot of back and forth between all of these tech giants and the folks in Silicon Valley and the Trump administration. I think this is just more of that.
Andrew Smith, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Morella.